SoundCartel.
Not all salespeople are created equal. While most have the gift of the gab and can be worth their weight in gold, which kind of salespeople actually perform best? From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Do you recognise these 5 types of salespeople? There's the hard worker, the challenger, the relationship builder, the lone wolf, and the reactive problem solver. And of those, which is the most successful in both simple sales and complex sales? Well, according to Tony Gattari, Managing Director and CEO of Achievers Group, the answer might surprise you. He explains the 5 sales types to Chris Ashmore.
The first type is the hard worker, always willing to go the extra mile, doesn't give up easily, so he's a bit like a determined dog, self-motivated, pretty interested in feedback and development. Number 2 is the challenger. He has a different view of the world, so it's almost like you say black, I say white. Understands the customer's business inherently. Loves to debate. Debate is not a puppy dog, yes, sir. It's actually they challenge back, hence the word challenger, and pushes the customer to make a decision. Number 3 is the relationship builder. Builds really strong advocates in the customer's organisation, really generous in giving time, sometimes over services. Gets along with everybody, you know, Mr. Likeable, come in, have a cup of coffee, great to see you again, is pretty genuine and accessible, mobile phones on all the time, can't do enough, and gives time to help others, really helping nature. And the 4th type is the lone wolf, follows their own instincts, self-assured. From a management perspective, pretty difficult to control. But if they're getting the numbers, you don't mind because sales covers a multitude of sins. And the last type is the reactive problem solver. Responds to internal and external stakeholders, ensure all problems are solved, and is really detailed orientated. Now, I'm going to ask you, Chris, I've just given you the 5 types. What does your gut say would be the most successful, of those 5 types?
Well, I'd probably have to lean towards number 3, the relationship builder.
Why?
Well, that's the kind of person I think you, as a customer, have a connection with, and that means that you can be convinced.
Yeah, okay. You know what? If you're in sales right now, in complex sales, you'd be broke. Okay? You'd be absolutely broke. You know, a restaurant experience to you would be McDonald's going through the drive-thru. Okay? Fundamentally, what they found is the most successful salespeople, high performers, 39% of them were challengers, 25% of them were lone wolves. 7% were the relationship builder. Okay, 7%. Now, this is really interesting. This is startling. Then they actually said, okay, in simple sales, like a simple sale is like a retail sale, because I've been on both simple and complex sales. So in my days at Harvey Norman, a simple sale was a computer sale. You came to me, you had a need, I serviced that need. Now, I'm working in a number of organisations, and one of them, I sell franchises. Now, that is a very complex sale. That's a conversion franchise. Now, what they found, in a low complex sale, the challenger wasn't that successful. Who was successful was the hard worker, because they just did the numbers. You know, they served more customers, got more deals. But what they found, Chris, is that in the complex sales that take 3 or 4 years, really big multi-million-dollar deals, the challenger blows everyone else apart. They will exceed 54% of the time. They take 54% of that market share of the 5 different types. And isn't that extraordinary? And number 2 was the lone wolf. And those 2 combined represented over 70%. Now, you've got to ask yourself, why are they so successful? And here's what they do brilliantly. And I do a little bit of this, and some people say, you're arrogant. No, just get the results. Number 1, they offer the customer a unique perspective. You know what they do? They teach, but they teach for differentiation. Number 2, they have enormously brilliant two-way communication skills. They are brilliant listeners. They don't just vomit over the customer. This is our product. This is our service. Who cares? Number 3, they know the individual. Now, they know the company drivers. Company drivers are always profitability, reduce costs. But they actually know the individual drivers, which could be very different, especially if you're in middle management, because middle management drivers are, make my life easy. I don't really care too much about profit. I don't want any more work. So they know that. They can identify the economic drivers of the business, so the macro and the micro. Here's a big one. They are so comfortable discussing money. They have no fear. It's almost like it is what it is. And the other big one is they can pressure the customer. They can actually get the customer to make a decision. They take them through gates. They are brilliant at closing and getting the agreements. This is what they do brilliantly. I call it the 3 T's. Number 1, they teach for differentiation. They're brilliant at delivering content. They're brilliant at educating the customer. They take a customer from ignorance to awareness. The second T is they tailor for resonance. What they do in a world of commoditization, they customize. They make the customer feel special by giving them a unique proposal around their needs. And the last thing that they do brilliantly is the most important, is they take control of the sale. They drive the agenda, they drive the stages, they drive what happens next. And if all you could do is get the listeners who are in sales, and sometimes we've got MDs who are in sales, to take on these 3 principles, which are sometimes anti what they've been taught. They've always been taught to be the relationship builder. I believe that you will see your sales explode.
That was Achievers Group Managing Director and CEO Tony Gattari. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow at BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel.